Welcome, everyone. Welcome to students, parents, and community. Thank you so much for joining us today for our DDSB at Home secondary orientation. My name is Georgette Davis. I'm Superintendent of Education, responsible for the DDSB at Home. And it is my pleasure to get to work with the team today that we're going to have a conversation with you. So I'm first going to introduce our principal, Principal Matsushita, and he is going to introduce our vice principals and our team today.
Good morning, families, students, and parents. Welcome to DDSB Virtual Secondary. Our team today, we have 4 vice principals. Each has a grade level, and I'll begin with grade 9. At grade 9, we have Basil Bromiotis. Basil, if you can give a wave, please.
Hi there, everybody.
Thank you. At grade 10, we have Maureen Verhoog.
Good morning, everyone.
Grade 11, we have Mark Lynch.
Good morning, everyone.
And at grade 12, we have Tiffany Jourdain.
Good morning.
Also joining us today, we have Education Officer from Special Education, Michelle Crawford-Eade.
Morning, everyone.
Thank you. Each of them will be speaking in turn later on in the program today. They each have different portfolios, and they'll be speaking to you with their specialization. Thank you, Georgette.
Thank you. And we also have joining us today is our admin officer for innovation, Tim Ralph. So he's going to be supporting us today.
Morning, everybody.
I would like to ask for your patience and support as we navigate and prepare for the first virtual school here at Durham District School Board. On August 12th, it was the deadline for the opt-out option to opt into virtual school. And at that time, on August 12th, we had 1,700 students in the virtual school. So we started planning to support our 1,700 students at that time. And during the following next week, 2 weeks, our registration doubled. And now we have 3,500 students registered to the virtual school. And even though we had a clear-cut deadline date, the registrations kept on coming in. So usually we prepare for a school opening, staffing, student registrations, timetabling, course selection during a 3-month period. That is what we usually do. So I am so grateful this morning to the staff who have undertaken the same tasks that we usually undertake in 3 months within 3 weeks. So thank you, everyone, community, students, families, for your patience while we navigate through this. So we are committed to providing an educational environment that is one that has high expectations for learning and where students feel they belong and thrive. We're also committed to continued communication on a weekly basis. We just require a little time this week to get those pieces together for you and to get the startup going. I wanted to thank you for opting into virtual learning and trusting us with your education, for students and for families for trusting us with your child's education. We will need your continued support, and this will need to be a team effort in order for us to plan for your success. We're also depending on your continued feedback, because your feedback helps us to be responsive and to continually improve. Our agenda for this morning, for this orientation, will include a short video with some additional information about staff. It will also include a question information period where each of the admin team will be able to share some information with you. And finally, a question period where we'll be answering questions from the chat. So our moderator, Tim Ralph, will be supporting us with that last piece. So I'm going to hand it back over to our principal so that he can introduce our VPs and they can share some additional information. But before I do that, I would like to share the video with you. So we'll share the video now.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, September 9th, 2020, and I'd like to welcome you to DDSB at Home Secondary. Now we're going to talk a little bit about timetable conflicts. We're going to ask that you visit our website, secondary@home.ddsb.ca. Click on the Students tab and take a look for course conflicts. This will take you to a Google form that will allow you to set up an appointment with our guidance team. I'm going to ask for your patience during this time as we are trying to support over 3,000 students. In the last couple of days, students will have received Google Classroom invites from our staff. They should accept these invites even if they wish to change courses until such time that their timetable is officially changed. This is to ensure that timetable is complete and they are slotted in courses. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about our inclusive student services. On staff, we have 5 special education resource teachers. In grades 9 and 10, Amy Williams, Edward LaRock, Melissa Boyd. In grade 11 and 12, Lisa McGregor and Lindsay Waddock. They can service all your special education needs, including IEPs and IPRCs. I'm also going to mention Megan Chessel, our English language coach, who will be servicing all our English language students. And most importantly, our 11 educational assistants. We could not create a school such as this without their support. In grade 9 and 10, we have Afsa Barclay, Cheryl Greer, Brendan Hill, Courtney Nags, and Philomena Wiley. In grade 11 and 12, we have Amanda Archer, Joan Beverly, Jessica Jewett, Diane Kring, Janice McCartney, and Dixie Ann Nabby. Some quick information about technology support. Right now, I'm going to ask that all students report any issues to classroom teachers. They can submit an IT request. For urgent challenges, you can email us at ddsb@home IT support at ddsb.ca. Are you ready for virtual learning? I'm sure you are ready. We will see you all on Thursday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. We hope that that provided some names of the staff that will be working with you. Now we have our principal who will introduce our vice principals who will give you some additional detailed information.
Thank you, Georgia. And just before I hand it over to the first vice principal, I just want to make it clear that with the changes, what we wanted to do, there was some confusion with regards to our schedule that went out earlier in the week. And that schedule indicated that during the week 1, the course 1 and 2 alternated in the morning. That was a draft schedule. That is an incorrect schedule, and that caused quite a bit of confusion. What I want to clarify is the new schedule that again went out yesterday, where in a week 1, class 1 occurs every day all morning, and class 2 in the afternoon. In a week 2, class 2 occurs every day in the morning, and class 1 occurs in the afternoon. We did this so that it aligns with the regular day schools. I now will hand it over to the grade 9 Vice Principal, Basil Bromialis.
Thank you very much, Phil. And it's nice to be here this morning. I am your grade 9 Vice Principal. And in addition, I'd like to speak a little bit towards the current virtual high school timetable that has been created and continues to be updated day to day as we move forward. As Georgette alluded to this morning, we've built a timetable in a record amount of time and brought together over 130 teachers, over 3,000 students across 8 periods in a year to try to align course requests to teacher qualifications and make a timetable for every student. The process is ongoing. We're working really hard to get it right. We know that there are gaps in some students' timetables. We know that other students' timetables appear empty at this time. We have a very dedicated guidance crew that is working nonstop to situate students in the courses that they need to move forward in their pathway. There are times where you will receive a timetable and it does not look correct, or it may have some sort of missing piece to it. We have a process for that. Our guidance team has created a form environment in which you could input the information and the nature of the problem and bring it forward to our guidance team to work on. We're working hard to make it right. We know that it's a record amount of time in which to pull everything together, and we're going to move forward and get past this and onto the pathway that everybody needs to be successful. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Basil. And one of the pieces that I want to reiterate on what Basil was saying, even though your timetable is complete, particularly grade 12s, please make sure you go over your timetable to make sure you have the necessary prerequisite courses for your post-secondary destination. So for example, grade 12 students who plan on going to university, please make sure that you're reviewing it so that you have 6 4U or M courses. And again, you can reach out to guidance to connect with them just to ensure that you have the proper prerequisites for that. I will now pass it over to the grade 10 Vice Principal, Maureen Verhoog.
Thank you, Phil. Good morning again, everyone. As Phil said, I am the grade 10 Vice Principal for DDSB at Home Secondary. I just wanted to speak with everybody a little bit about what the Block 4 period looks like, because this is new for a lot of students and it's new to the virtual school. It's a great asset to every student that is with us this year. It really acts as a support period. It is aligned with the Course 2 class that they are taking in the week 1. So essentially, whatever class that they are taking right after lunch, the Block 4 will be aligned with that class. So for example, if they have math right after lunch, then in Block 4, they will meet with a teacher. It may not be their classroom teacher, it could be another math teacher. And within that period, attendance will be taken right at the beginning of Block 4. And then students are free to stay online and ask specific questions and get that tutorial help that they are looking for. They can weave in and out of that period during that 75-minute time. So they could ask a question, go off, maybe work on it. If they still need clarification, then they come right back on and the teacher will be there to help clarify and support. So this is actually quite a great asset, again, to every student's timetable. We really just want to ensure that they get all the support that they need, hence the Block 4. Thank you.
Thanks, Maureen. And one of the questions that came about was, is it mandatory attendance? And yes, at the beginning, there will be a teacher there where you will be signing in for that, and more direction will come out of there. I'll hand it over to the grade 11 Vice Principal, Mark Lynch.
Good morning, everyone. I'm in charge of all the technical aspects of running our virtual school. So I'm going to take a few minutes and talk to you and describe to you a little bit about what it'll be like to be part of our virtual school. As you've heard already, we are using Google Classroom as our main platform for students. They should receive or have already received an invite from their teacher to join those classes. If that's not the case yet, not to worry. We have multiple ways we can get your students into those classes, and feel free to email me anytime and I can answer those questions for you. So what will students see when they arrive at their Google Classroom? Well, we expect them to sign in on time to meet their teacher, who will already be there having a Google Meet open for them. The lesson will be introduced by that staff member, may approximately be about 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes of lesson time. Teachers will then use a variety of strategies for the remainder of the lesson. They may ask your student to go off and do some silent reading. They may ask students to do some group work through Google Sheets or Google Docs, but this time may not necessarily be on camera. That will be up to the teacher themselves. At the end of this portion of the lesson, students will be asked to report back to the teacher for a sum up of the lesson and conclusion. And they may be given a little bit of extra work for the next day, but we want to ensure that students are meeting up with their teachers at the end of the class to ensure that the lesson has been understood. And from there, teachers can contact their students through Google Classroom at any time, through chat, through various assignments. So we're hoping that this virtual environment will allow a great amount of communication for our students. Thanks, Phil.
Okay, thank you, Mark. And again, that was one of the questions that we were receiving at the virtual school was, do I have to be in front of the computer for 2 75-minute blocks and keep smiling into the camera? No, you don't. Yeah, there will be times when you will do some independent work and then log back on. I'll pass it over to grade 12 Vice Principal Tiffany Jourdain, and she will also be speaking with Michelle Crawford-Eve because one of Tiffany's portfolios is special education. Tiffany?
Thank you, Phil, and good morning, everybody. We are excited to be opening this very exciting opportunity. We have basically we're working with homeschools to ensure that we are modeling all of the supportive programs that that are offered in regular schooling. So as Phil said, I am in charge of the grade 12 class, and it's my pleasure to be working with this grade to be graduating in such a unique way. We will be offering all student success programs. We will have SAL, we will have credit recovery. We're going to be working with student teachers. UOIT is already connected to us to ensure that we are offering that opportunity for student teachers also to come in and join us in the virtual setting. Parent engagement will be very important. So I'm looking forward to us opening up our first SCC meeting virtually. That will be a new opportunity for parents to join us and have input and help us create an environment that will build it just like a regular school. Michelle Crawford-Ede is here to speak to our special education support program. So I've been working closely with her to ensure that we're looking at the model that was used from our summer school program, which was very successful, and it is a work in progress. So we will, I'm going to bring her in to speak to that area of our school. And at this point, Michelle, are you ready to speak?
I sure am.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I want to thank the DDSB at Home administrative team for inviting me today. And the reason why I was invited is to assure everyone that the ISS team is committed to providing students with the supports as they would receive in person at DDSB at Home. These supports include educational support teams such as teachers and EAs, CERTs, so members of our Inclusive Student Services team at DDSB at Home. There will be set up a virtual AR space, and information will follow on how to access. And of course, the ISS board team, which includes members from our psychological services, social work, speech and language, instructional facilitators, and myself as the educational officer. I want to assure you that the ISS team is committed to providing students with the necessary supports, accommodations, and/or modifications to have a successful school year. I would encourage you to reach out to DDSB at Home, particularly VB Jourdain, and also the academic resource team, the CERTs, which I believe Mr. Lynch indicated in his presentation that there are 5 for DDSB at Home, so that the students and their teachers can work together to provide the necessary supports. The clear message that we want you to take to heart is that the ISS team is here to support you. So whatever supports students received in a brick and mortar school, the supports will be mimicked within DDSB at Home. We would ask for your patience as we work out this process, and your team from DDSB at Home will be sending out information on how to access the supports. I want to thank you. Thank you, team, for inviting me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here, Michelle. I'll pass it back over to Phil.
Okay, and I just want to thank Michelle as well, and thank you to the vice principal team. Some of the pieces that we want to follow up on is there's still concern, I know, out there that some students have not received Google Meet invites to a classroom. And please know that, as Superintendent Davis was saying, we're still working on timetables today. And because of that, as teachers populate their classrooms, they will continue to send out classes invites both today and probably tomorrow morning at the last minute as well. So please know that that is ongoing. I'll pass it over to Superintendent Davis.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing. And the next part of our agenda is actually going to be a question period. So we have been monitoring the questions that have been coming in the chat. And Tim Ralph will take some of those questions out, and he will support in reading the questions for us, and we will answer some of those questions now. Tim, are you ready? Oh, Tim needs one moment. So we are looking for, in our chat, kind of trends and patterns, and we know that you have questions about timetables, questions about accessing the Google Classroom, those kinds of things. So he's going to get those trends and patterns for us and share with us. So I do know that one question that kept coming up was around the link to a form. So Basil, can you clarify for us what that might be?
Sure. The form is a Google form in nature, and it helps us to collect information in an organized and tidy way. Our guidance team created the form, and we have posted a link to it. I believe it's on our website. We also tweeted it out, and I've asked Tim to place that link into the chat of this streaming session so that people can have ready access from here. I think that he's working on that now. If he hasn't, I don't have access to the chat to post it myself. But please, if you're not sure, go onto our website and take a look under students and course conflicts. You'll find the link to the form there. Our guidance team is working incessantly to address these pieces. It may take some time. Pretty please have some patience with us. We're working on it.
And I thank you, and I do know that we have tested the form, so it is working, but we're open to feedback if there's any pieces there. Basil or Phil, this question is for one of you. I've gotten feedback that we have a timetable that was posted online, and then we changed it and tweaked it, and there's an updated timetable that's posted online. The question is, which one is should the students and parents be looking at?
Phil, would you like me to take it, or shall you?
You can take it. Thanks, Basil. Because just so everybody knows, Mr. B, as he's affectionately known as, he does all the timetabling. So the VPs, we refer to him for his expertise.
Appreciate that. I think the dual timetables that people are looking at online is the Quadmaster Schedule. I believe that's what people are referring to. And there was a time that there was an incorrect version of that was accidentally distributed. We worked hard to put the correct one out for everybody to see. So our apologies for that. We're moving quickly to try to correct problems as they come up. I can tell you that it was a real team effort to figure out the very, very correct way to align with other schools in the system and be able to have a weekly Quadmaster schedule that makes sense. The correct Quadmaster schedule is the one that shows course 1 every day in week 1 at the top, and in week 2, which is the next section down, course 2 every day at the top. I hope that makes sense. The correct Quadmaster schedule is the one that shows course 1 every day in that week at the top.
All right, thanks, Basil.
Thank you.
And one of the pieces I do want to add in, again, we know there's going to be some confusion. There's going to be timetable changes. Again, there'll be students with gaps in the timetables, meaning only one course showing for the Quadmaster right now. Perhaps some students will have no schedule at the moment. Again, guidance is working diligently on that. But what I will say is this, and I said this in the video previously, was that the most important focus for right now is our teachers to re-engage you as learners, the students, parents, and families. And through that process, we also recognize that many situations, students will not probably have access to the technology, be it bandwidth and so forth. So again, we're trying to be adaptable to that. Having said that, right now, our main focus, like a brick and mortar school, as we change timetables, teachers are looking at to do what I call gap closing. You know, continue on from where you left off last year in the spring and put out those formative assessments to see, you know, what is your current level of understanding. So in a regular brick and mortar school, we know students take at least a week to change timetables, and teachers at that time give out those review assignments and other pieces to get students caught up or close that gap. So that's what our teachers are going to be doing as these timetables are occurring. So don't think you are falling behind. The gap closing is the main focus. And then the next concern, of course, will be, well, am I going to fall behind? Again, this is a new environment for everyone, the Quadmaster. Many of us as teachers and students have not been in the Quadmaster semester. So again, this is going to be a learning journey for all of us. But assessments, of course, will also be modified to accommodate the new schedules. So I just really want to reassure students this week and next week when timetable changes are occurring, it's about re-engagement and gap closing. I'll pass it over to our IT team because I think there are some questions that are coming through.
and I'm back. I don't know what happened to Zoom there. I lost my sound and I lost my picture, but we're back. I'm going to turn it over and want to talk more about Quadmasters because there's a lot of questions, and I just want to talk about how do you read your timetable. And I think that's a basic question everybody's asking about because it is a confusing looking timetable. And can we turn that over to you, Mr. Boomeritis, to just maybe cast up that and just show a timetable and show people? And after we get there, remember, if you don't understand your timetable or aren't sure how to get in right away, the good news is today, tomorrow, you should start to see invites starting to come in for your classes. So you will know your first two because they will be in your Google Classroom to start. And I've seen people in the chat also suggesting checking in with D2L. Our teachers should all have Google Classrooms to start, but many of you have used D2L classrooms, and so they may also be in D2L, and that might be an option to check there as well. But Google Classroom is a good first go. But I'm going to turn it over so we can just take a look at a timetable, and maybe you can walk through that for folks, because that's a challenging document.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to help clarify. I just need to be sensitive about which timetable I bring up because we always ensure students' privacy. But to further answer one previous question, because I have the document up in front of me, and if I may cast it to our screens right now, the question about which Quadmaster schedule is correct, I'd like to just take a moment and show you the correct one so you can all lay eyes upon it at the same time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cast my screen by making a few clever clicks like so. And then if I can pull this document over here, is everybody seeing this?
Looks.
Let's take a look over here.
That's not coming up on our screen. You'll probably have to drag it over.
I did.
Okay.
I should be casting my correct screen. Am I not cast? Let me try that again, guys.
Entire screen.
I did. My casting piece is locked out right now, and I'm not entirely sure why.
And students, this will be some of the complications that our staff will face through their teaching. So again, we ask for everybody's patience as we navigate these new softwares.
My friends, I have done this many times, and I apologize that it is not working on this attempt. I will try. No, it is grayed out for me. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to pass a document to one of my colleagues who can then cast on my behalf. How about that? Mark, are you available to cast it for me, pretty please?
Anything for you, Basil.
Thanks, Mark.
Are you going to send me the document?
Absolutely. It's on its way. At the lightning speed pace of the internet, I am now zapping the Quadmaster Schedule across the World Wide Web to Mark. I think we have a lot of people online at the same time, which might mean did I break the meat, guys? I'm so sorry. Are we back online?
We are back online.
My sincere apologies, friends. I'm not sure how that happened, but we're back online, and that's the important part. Mark, I am sending that document to you again. Let's see if we get it right this time.
Tim, while he is doing that, are there any, one of the questions that I had received via email was around students don't have their link to Google Classroom. I'm sure we've addressed that, but Phil, can you, or Tim, can you just remind the parents that it is on the way?
Absolutely, it is on the way, and as we indicated earlier, guidance counselors are working on student timetables as we speak, and that would include where a student has no courses on their timetable or there's a gap in it, in other words, just one for this quadmester. As they work on that, then the teacher's name will be populated to that, and then the teacher will send out a Google Meet link to the students to invite them to the classroom. So again, we just ask for students to be patient with regards to that, please.
Okay.
While we're waiting just for that to move its way across the internet, there were some questions as well around openings in timetables now, and I think they're really kind of relate to the fact that we're still filling classes, so many students are seeing spares in their timetables, and maybe someone could speak to that as well. Not everyone is going to have those as spares, I'm assuming, as the semesters begin.
Yes, that's correct, Tim. Thank you for pointing that out. Usually a student will require to be in grade 12 with a minimum of 24 credits under their belt before we start looking at spares as an option on their timetable. If students are not in grade 12 and do not have 24 credits currently accumulated, generally they should not have any spares in their timetable either. So if you spot one of those spares, please use that Google form in order to let us know about the problem so that our guidance team can work on it and fix it. I hope that clarifies that piece.
I'm going to post a link to that Google form right in the chat for everybody. But I also reading some people are having difficulties filling out the form. It's not working for them. We just tested it and it did seem to work, but if you're having difficulties with that, we'll keep looking at that and seeing where that issue might be. It does seem to be working. So I'll paste a link in for everyone so they'll at least have that link to go in and take a look at their course timetable changes, things they'd like to see changing.
Can I, Mr. B, can I just add something about spares, et cetera? Are you okay with that?
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
One of the things that I want to put forth is that there's many reasons why students don't have what's called a full complement courses on their timetable. And that could be due to a variety of different reasons. So that's a conversation that students, particularly students that have an IEP, they should be having conversations with Ms. Jourdain and the CERT team to make sure that they are still on a pathway for success. So if your destination is workplace, college, university, OEAP, etc., so that we make sure that you're getting towards that destination in a time frame that really works for you. But there's lots of reasons why a student would not have a full complement, and those are discussions that the DDSB at home admin team would be open to have, particularly for students that do use inclusive student services and have an IEP. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. And there's one more layer I'd like to add on top of that. When students made course requests at their home school, those course requests were transferred to us at the virtual. Virtual cannot offer all the courses. We don't offer a plethora of courses that perhaps the home school has. So for example, we don't have technology construction, auto, that type of thing, those very specialized culinary arts. Given that, then there will automatically be a hole in the timetable because we don't offer that course. And that's where, again, a conversation between a guidance counselor and the student online, they need to talk about what would be the best appropriate course to fill that hole, pending your pathway. Are you trying to get to an apprenticeship and again, university bound and so forth? So just know, please, that we can't offer every course that your home school had. Thank you.
I think we'd like to try casting to explain those timetables again. Is that okay if we try that one more time? Mark, can you see if you can throw up that Quadmaster schedule for us while I narrate a little bit? Marvelous. I'm so glad that worked this time. Friends, this is the correct Quadmaster daily schedule. You'll notice that course 1 is at the top for block 1. There is a brief break. Then course 1 again for block 2. Then we break for lunch, all of us, about 50 minutes of lunch right there. Block 3 is course 2, different color to help you separate it visually. And then after a break, the next and last piece, which I know Maureen Verhoog is going to speak about, is the block 4 piece, which is related support. Okay, that is a week 1 schedule. Mark, if you could scroll that down just a wee bit for me. Notice on week 2's, the whole thing repeats but is flipped. So course 2 in the morning, blocks 1 and 2, and then after lunch, course 1 for block 3, and course 1 related support in block 4. So that is the daily general schedule. The next thing that I want to talk about is how students can read their individual timetables with a bit more clarity. Thank you very much, Mark. So you should know that virtual school doesn't have cohorts like other schools do. We have full-size classes, and we're able to do that because we're virtual. We don't have to separate groups of students. Luckily for us, everybody in the comfort of their homes or other surroundings can equitably access at the same time the same class with the same teacher. There are no cohorts. Student timetables that you may have gotten used to reading in previous years were based upon semesters. Semesters are halves of a school year. Semester 1, first half, semester 2, second half. And in each semester, you have 4 periods where you can have a class. 4 periods for semester 1, 4 periods for semester 2. That was previous. We've taken this model and flipped it on its side. Now we have 4 quadmesters with 2 periods each. Quadmester 1, course 1, quadmester 1, course 2. Quadmester 2, course 1, quadmester 2, course 2. Quadmester 3, course 1, quadmester 3, course 2, quadmester 4, course 1, quadmester 4, course 2. I am going to hope that my cast to your screens works correctly this time so that I can show you a sample timetable and you can see what I mean. I am going to try presenting this screen right here where I have a sample timetable to show you. This one. Go. Tell me if this works, friends. No, we're getting a no. How about now?
Sorry, Basil, no.
It seems that you open up your other account when you try to share, but it did come later. There may be a delay.
There may be a delay. Okay. I'm going to give it another 10 seconds, and if not, I'm going to forward this one to Mark as well, because Mark's is working.
So while we're waiting for Basil, I think it's happening.
There it is.
It's happening.
Yes. Okay, so everybody can see the sample timetable, yes? Okay, it's very colorful. Don't let that fool you. Remember when I told you, semester 1, half a year, semester 2, the other half of the year. Notice how it's broken down by quads, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. And then the 2 columns here represent the 2 periods. This fictional student has math in the first period of quadmester 1 and has civics and careers in period 2. Okay? The civics and careers each take up half of the time span of that period. I hope that that helps to clarify a little bit about how we organize. There are only 2 courses in each quadmester, period 1, period 2, course 1, course 2. And then in consequent quadmesters, we move on to 2 new courses. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and hopefully it reverts back to where we're supposed to be. I'll take further questions if you have them.
Well, I'm going to jump in and say, although there's been a lot of timetable questions that have been asked, we haven't really, I think a lot of those are going to be addressed with the form link that has been posted now, because a lot of it is around, oh, I don't like my timetable, I'm not sure about it. There have been 2 questions that might be able to be asked or at least answered right now. That's around CoOp and what might be happening there. And another question around SHSM. And maybe those are too specific. They need to be talked through with individual students, but I wonder if someone could answer those questions. We've seen CoOp come up a few times.
So at this time, Tim, at Virtual High School, we did not see a clear logistical path to offer CoOp. We can look forward into the future and see where those opportunities may be available, but we had to make a wise decision about what we could facilitate effectively and what we couldn't. And at this time, we are not offering CoOp.
Again, just to add on to that, Tim and Basil, we're talking about specialist high scale majors, and we know there are those essential courses that students have to take. I alluded to earlier that unfortunately we can't offer a lot of courses, again, for example, tech, but I know a lot of students are in pathways that require those techs, and that will be a conversation with our guidance counselors, and perhaps in the future, you know, hopefully once this whole pandemic is over, there'll be an opportunity to return to the home schools where those courses are offered. But again, that's an ongoing conversation and situation that keeps unfolding and evolving. But we are aware of those students who need particular courses. And again, that will be an ongoing conversation at this time.
Okay, so Tim, we have time for one more question, or I can wrap it up. Is there another question in there that we can
We just
address?
had a few, I had a few people asking as well around that fourth block, some confusion around what's supposed to happen at the end of the day in that fourth block. Maybe someone could talk a little bit about that as well.
Maureen, can you help us with that one?
Sure. Again, the fourth block will be aligned. It is subject support for the course that happens after the lunch period. So on a week 1 schedule, that block 4 support will be aligned with course 2. And on a week 2 schedule, that block 4 support will be aligned with the course 1 because they flip. So during block 4, students will have their attendance taken at the beginning of that period. And then it will be in the form of a Google Meet. And then students will be able to ask questions that pertain to that subject that they just had in block 3. And there will be a teacher online available to them to offer them that type of support. Students are allowed to weave in and out of that 75-minute period. They don't have to stay there for the full 75 minutes. As I said, they could ask a question and then go off and do their work. They can come back and seek further clarification if they'd like within that 75-minute frame. So I hope that helps to clarify.
Thank you, Maureen, for that. We just have a couple of final pieces. We have a couple of questions around career cruising and then school starting and how we can get ready for that. So Basil, can you support us with the career cruising question? And then
Yes.
Phil, can you support us with next steps in terms of when school starts?
I'm going to give a very short answer about career cruising. At this time, we are looking to supersede career cruising with a different software package called My Blueprint. Okay. Career cruising, we're no longer moving forward with career cruising at this time. My Blueprint will be the option that we go with for students who are planning their pathways. More info on this piece will be forthcoming from our guidance department. We just want to settle everybody in and start moving with our educational learning environments and our well-being and our curricular delivery and our learning. And we're going to get to the My Blueprint piece in due time.
Okay, thanks, Basil. And with regards, tomorrow, school starts at 10 a.m. We finish at 4 p.m. Again, some students will have gaps in their timetable. And so, again, if you complete that Google form, guidance will be in contact with you as soon as possible. Remember, we have a large portion of our student body currently with gaps in their timetable for the reasons I said earlier. Perhaps courses are full, perhaps courses are not offered that your homeschool had, and so forth. Again, we ask for your patience on that. So in tomorrow's class, if you do have a full timetable, hopefully you will be receiving those Google invites. Again, teachers are working diligently to send those invites up right now because, again, teacher timetables are still evolving at this time as we try to accommodate everybody's needs. But again, if there are situations, guidance is your first point of contact. And by week's end, because you're doing timetable changes or joining new classes, we have to inform the teacher that you're new to the class, and then at that time, they'll send out the Google invite to you. But again, please be patient. I know we've said that many times, but this is a new era for all of us. But, one of the things that I do promise you is our teachers are working on, developing creative and robust curriculum environments for you so that you can get back on your learning track. Thank you.
Muted.
My apologies. We're going to wrap up right now with the orientation. So we are also going to create a Q&A of frequently asked questions with some of these questions on it and post it on our website for you. So we wanted to thank you very much for coming today. And just a few things to keep in mind, and Phil has already talked about some of them. We know that at a bricks and mortar school, the first 2 to 3 weeks is about timetabling, renewing, reviewing, getting ourselves updated. It is the same at DDSB at home. We work with families and students and parents to support an education, same at DDSB at home. It is normal to start talking about the timetables and discussing, do I have a spare? Should I have a spare? Should we tweak? It is the same at DDSB at home. We are committing also to keeping a special eye on our grade 12 students to ensure that they have the credits they need to follow the pathway that they choose. So we want to ensure that the challenges in this transition time are accommodated. And as Phil said, with our focus on gap closing, well-being, and engagement. And we need your continual support and patience as we navigate this journey. So continue to give us feedback, continue to contact us, and please keep in mind that we are going through thousands and thousands of emails. So please be patient with us. We will get back to you in short order. Okay? Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, team. And a special thank you to the staff that are working behind the scenes. You don't see them, but they are working hard to make sure that we are ready for your students and for you students who are watching. So thank you everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you everyone, and best wishes as you begin the 2020-21 school year. Good luck.